Hi everyone. I hope you're going to really enjoy this exercise today for osteoporosis. It's called a bridge, and I use it in my yoga and Pilates for osteoporosis all the time. Now, what do you want to know with a bridge? Well, because we don't want to compress the lumbar spine or the cervical or thoracic spine, we're going to do what's called a hinge bridge up and an articulated bridge down, where you're not loaded but lengthening as you come down. All I have today are some mats on the floor, and I've got 2 yoga blocks. These are really important because I'm going to show you some great modifications for ways to strengthen all the parts of your body. Let's get started. I'm going to come down onto the side and roll onto my back with bent legs. Now, in this position, first thing I want to do is feel neutral. What does that mean? Well, I want to have some contact with my hip bones, and I want to have a small space under my lumbar spine. You can see, well, if you can see, probably with the blue and the black mat, it's not as obvious, but I have a little excessive curvature there, and that's called lordosis. It just means that I have a little bit of a tilt of my pelvis. I don't want to fix that by pushing down. That's actually compressing your back. Rather, I want to draw my abdominals in very strongly, what I call kind of a shrink wrapping, where you're drawing up here from the pelvic floor to the navel and into the 2 sides. So in this way, you're engaging the deepest layer, the transversus abdominis, and you're also getting some of those obliques from the side, right? So one way to reinforce that is to take a block between your inner thighs. Not only will that allow you to feel aligned with your feet coming straight down from your sit bones, but it'll help you engage this without compressing. We'll take an inhale through the nose, and as we exhale, we're just going to hug the block in and use that as a way to really engage those deep, low abs. Let's see what that looks like. I can be a little bit too much here, and then as I exhale, I squeeze the block in and I feel all this support wrapping around my core. Now, I'm going to start to build this towards a bridge. I want to feel all the points of resistance that I can for my bones. So I'm feeling my feet pressing down. I'm feeling the inner thighs squeeze the block. I never want to come up higher than my shoulders, or in my case, my bra hook area there, because that might put some strain on my cervical spine. Here's what it looks like. I'm going to take an inhale. As I exhale, I'm going to squeeze the block, draw some energy into my core muscles, and then pick the hips up in one piece. You can see that I've got stability here into the upper spine. I'm reaching my hands long, feeling my feet. The energy is, I feel like almost like a ski slope from my head to my knees. You can see here there's small space under my neck. So I'm on the bridge of my head, but I'm not compressing my neck. Take an inhale. And as I exhale, I'm going to take my time, layering the spine, working from the upper spine to the middle spine, to the lower spine, articulating each of those vertebral bodies as I come down. It feels amazing. Let's look at it again. Inhale. As I exhale, hugging those core muscles in, picking the hips up, but no higher than my shoulders. Now I'm going to really emphasize pressing my arms down. I can feel the backs of my triceps. I can feel my arm bones, my hands as they press down. We want to create as many multifocal points of movement as we can to give the bones some meaningful load and novelty stressors. At the top, I'll take another inhale, and as I exhale, feeling my abdominals like a strand of pearls, letting each of the pieces of my spine come down with support. You can do that as many times as you want. How could we add to that? Let's try it here. Take an inhale. As I exhale, squeeze the block, go through all the same motions, pick the hips up as one piece. Now I want to give a little bit more stressors to my arm bones. So I can bring my hands up. Now I'm going just a tiny bit higher on the upper arm bones. And I can feel even more force through the arms here. My fingers are lengthening. Again, I'm cautious about not pushing down into my neck, but feeling the ridge of my skull, what's called the occipital ridge. Meanwhile, my glutes are on fire here, which is also great. Take an inhale.
And as I exhale, I'll lay my hands down using that same process of engaging my abs to help me lengthen my back. Ooh, one more with an arm variation before I come into some 2-block movements. Inhale at the bottom. As I exhale, engage, press, lift. Now, I could take my hands underneath. Now, I stress often that we don't want to use any kind of compression. But here, you're really trying to feel your shoulder blades at this point. I am a little bit higher than I was on my upper back because as I draw my arms underneath here, now I'm going to try to feel my wrists, my arms, and even my shoulder blades gently pressing in, still keeping that neck free. And you talk about work for the hip. It is so much here. Take a breath in and then exhale. I'll take my time again, layering, lengthening, and slowly releasing down. Now, one more variation that I think you'll find fun. It may wake up your hamstrings in a big way. So what if we take those blocks underneath each of the feet? First of all, you can really feel that neutral spine here. When your legs are in this position, it just feels a little bit more natural to feel that curvature in the low back, like a trail of ants could follow you under your back. I want to really stress my hip bones in this position. Still not going to come any higher than my shoulders, but I'm going to get a pizzazz or pow movement into my legs. I'll take an inhale. As I exhale, I hug the abs in, get that support. I'm going to pick up, still on those shoulder blades, but wow, do I really feel that in my hips. Lots of strength there. Now I could do just a little bit of recalculation. I know that my right hip likes to do some wonky things sometimes, so I want to make sure that I'm nice and level there so I can feel that the 2 pelvic bones are really in line. You could stay here for as long as you want, really restoring your spine to the length it was meant to have. We take an inhale and then an exhale, slowly layering one vertebrae at a time, coming down. Feels so good. So as I come out of that, I can go to either side. I'm just going to come onto the side, press into my hands, and sit up tall. I hope you enjoy that and that you'll practice that and maybe come up with some other variations of your own. We'll see you next time.